Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to the first ever Triumphant Life podcast. My name is Nick Trevelyan, your host and founder of the Triumphant Life. And I am joined with my best friend, my coach, my trainer, just an amazing all-around human being, Mr. Andrew Hangartner. Andrew,
what's going up, everybody?
What up?
How we doing?
So guys, let me give you guys the breakdown of what we're doing right now and where we're at. So we're actually at Andrew's gym, Alpha Elite Fitness, and I thought it was just very fitting to come back here for our kickoff call. And this is what started the call, and this is what we're all about here at the Triumphant Life and why we started a podcast. And I've been asked for years by a lot of people to start my coaching program and start teaching them and coaching them, and I know you have too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have as well, but you're so inspirational, and people look up to you in so many different ways.
Well, thanks,
I mean,
bro.
even being your coach and your trainer, you inspire me in so many different ways that you don't even know about. I haven't told you.
Well, I appreciate that. So we're finally putting the mic and getting the recording down, and so we're really excited to actually start this podcast. And really what we wanted to do on the first podcast was, one, bring you on because you're a big part of the podcast and the Triumphant Life and what we're doing here. Big part of my life and the impact you make on a lot of others. But I thought it was just very fitting that we get to tell the story of how the Triumphant Life coaching program came about and what we're all about here in our mission. And man, I'm kind of like emotional to start this,
Coming
dude.
to life in Big Sur, California is not a bad place to come up with this idea. I'll tell you
No,
that.
not at all, man. And so really what had started and I guess sparked this idea was my year. And for those that know me on the call and those that don't, I can't wait to meet you, give you a high five and a hug. But, you know, from a hardcore driving business guy and a motivational coach, I haven't had the greatest year, huh?
Well, no, not really. But when we first met at Chipotle that day, was it April 1st?
April 1st, yeah. And it wasn't a Fool's Day, I promise you that.
Yeah, right? You know, when we met and you told me where you're at and what, I'll let you get in that. But, you know, I haven't told you this, but when I told you that this will be the best year of your life, I really felt it. And I knew it was going to be because that day when you came in to meet me, you were different. Your whole energy, your vibe, everything was different. I've trained you. I've seen you come and go from my gym multiple times over the years. And to be honest, it's funny I can tell you now over this, is I was so fucking frustrated at you because you couldn't fucking stop doing the bullshit I told you to stop. And when you sat down that day with me, I knew it. And that's why I said this will be the best year of your life. And you have owned up to everything every demon you had in your past. You literally broke down every fucking demon, and seeing you come out of this after this trip was absolutely amazing. So I'm blown away by what you've done. And then I can't wait for them to hear your story because it's one hell of a story.
Yeah, and so as you guys can hear, there's some puppies in the background. That makes us who we are, and you know what? We're not fucking shy about who we are. We're at the gym. My dog and Andrew's dogs are running around there, and that's who we are, guys. And that's what the Triumphant Life is about: is being real, being raw, being transparent. But we're also
nobody is nowadays.
Yeah, and we are. You know, we'll shoot you straight. We drop F-bombs. We're normal human beings, and if you don't like that, I'm sorry, man. Click no on this and move on. But
go elsewhere.
Really, what we're for, guys, are the dreamers of the world, the people that want more out of this world, the people that want to work and roll up their sleeves and know that there's a better way of life, that there's more passion out there, there's more juice in life. You know, every day we have 1,440 minutes. And here at the Triumphant Life, you know, we're kind of the ones that want to suck every minute out of that, man, out of every minute that we have in this life, because this time last year, I didn't know if I was going to get to do that. And I guess we'll just jump right into that. So about 13, 14 months ago, this time last year, I started having some back pain. And I'm a college athlete, played college football, middle linebacker at that. So I'm used to back pain. I'm used to neck pain and knee pain. And to me, I just thought it was just a normal way of life I was just going to have. And that back pain led to some numbness in my right foot. Then it led to numbness in my right leg. Then it led to numbness in my left leg. And it led to some other functioning problems with my body, and I started to get really, really scared. And so what ended up happening is that back pain and that numbness led to me being paralyzed from the waist down on December the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas of last year.
I couldn't even imagine what was going on through your head, like laying there. I wouldn't fear that. I wouldn't put that on anybody that I hate.
Well, I mean, it's like, it was crazy is the night before, you know, we had watched Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2 and sang Christmas carols, and, you know, we're getting ready for Christmas, and I had one of the biggest months of my professional career, had like a $20,000 day, the day before I got rushed to the hospital. I mean, imagine 20 grand. I was at home celebrating with my family, you know, and getting ready to go through Christmas, and we had a trip planned to go to San Diego and stay in a condo beachside through New Year's, and I had so much to be grateful for. And then the very next day, it was all taken away from me in literally an instant. Shit's going to happen, man. And you know, I've been a coach my whole life and helped a lot of people. But, man, I'll tell you, at that point, when I got a chance to spend my first trip in an ambulance, It tested everything that I ever had. And I'll be honest with you, this time last year, I wasn't strong enough to handle it.
I believe that.
They rushed me in the hospital. I had pissed my pants because I lost all bodily function. And I'm laying in the ER not knowing, do I have cancer? What is going on with me right now? And they did a series of tests. I was in the ER about 15 hours. And I remember my MRI started at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was a 3.5 hour MRI. And anybody that's had an MRI knows, one, how claustrophobic those things are, and how the bang, bang, bang. And I'll never forget that moment, dude. And I'm just laying there with tears just coming down my face, not knowing, am I going to get out of this hospital today? Am I going to get to have Christmas? I didn't know, and I was fucking terrified. And so, guys, what that led to was temporary paralysis, where they found a cyst on my spine. And they didn't know if I'd ever get that functioning back in my legs again. They didn't know, like, it could have crushed me where I could never walk again. We didn't know. So I went in for spine surgery, and they removed the cyst. And I remember just going through that whole process, even laying in the hospital the night before, as a very inspirational guy, as a motivational coach, right? And somebody that's really trying to inspire others. I didn't know if I was strong enough to take that on at that point in time, man. And obviously I had to go as deep into everything I thought I was, what I represented, to get even just to the surgery. And the surgery was on a Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. I remember they came to get me at 5:30 a.m. Well, I had set my alarm, and I woke up myself at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I did an hour and a half of prep in the mirror. I went through my old college football playlist, every Metallica song, Pantera song,
You gotta get yourself psyched up.
I mean, I had to. Hey, guys. I had to get in that moment. And really, going through that surgery, I didn't know if I was going to come out, if they had hit something wrong, if I couldn't walk. So I remember opening my eyes, wasn't sure if I was going to make it out of that, man. And
I bet it's really hard for you to even explain the fear you had that morning.
That's just me, and there's probably people on the call that are hearing this that have gone through stuff like that, that can maybe relate, or maybe you can't, but just imagine something that is the scariest, hardest time of your life. And I remember when they got me out of surgery on the Sunday, I went to an ICU. And what was interesting was I had to be flat on my back for 24 hours straight. And, I have tubes coming up in every arm, a drain coming out of my spine, and all I can see is the wall, the ceiling, because I'm flat on my back. And after that, they let me walk and put the bed up. And I remember the minute I could stand up, I refused to lay in the bed. And I remember saying, I'm not sick, I'm hurt, there's a difference, I'm here to train. And so the doctors were really surprised when they would walk in, I'd be sitting in a reclining chair. I would not allow myself to lay down. But what had happened when I was in the ICU, on my second or third day in, they wanted me to start walking to see if I could walk and kind of get this going. Well, I was really excited to do that. But I was walking around the ICU every day, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Well, if you're in the ICU, I don't know the exact statistics, but odds are not everybody's making it out of there.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in circles 4 or 5 times a day, looking into the rooms of people on ventilators and breathing tubes, and just thinking to myself, wow, he or she might not make it out. And then I'll never forget this, is they had, I call it the death room, and they had a room when in the ICU that if your family member didn't make it out, you had to go in and make arrangements. And they would bring in the funeral homes and stuff. And I had to see that 5 times a day. And I remember seeing it a few times where the door was open and I'm staring into this couch of just a distraught wife or a mother or a father or a brother or a sister. And I remember just thinking, one, like how fortunate I was that I was able to be walking in that moment. But two, it reminded me how short life really, really, really is. And that's actually what kind of inspired the Triumphant Life and, us doing this podcast and us starting this mission here and actually started our trip. And so what had happened was after the hospital, guys, I went into a very, very dark place, a deep depression, that I was chasing with alcohol and other things, just trying to numb that pain. I mean, the thought of, not being myself anymore. And it was really, really, really hard for so long. And I went to the dark place, which you got, you were there with me. And what, this has been hands down the worst year of my life, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Coming from a very inspirational guy, I will look you in the face and tell you we're all fucking human and we're all real and we all face setbacks. And so it was a really, really bad 10 months for me. And coming up on my year anniversary, Andrew and I, my coach here, sat down and started talking, like, how do you take something that is so bad and so painful? And I'm so grateful that I'm obviously standing and walking and training today, but how do you turn that around? And that's where the Triumphant Life was born. And so what we did was on November the 1st of this year, we went on a 21-day trip up the coast of California, Oregon, and Washington. And what
literally the best trip of my entire life.
Wasn't it beautiful?
Well, it wasn't even just like, I knew the trip was going to be fun. I knew it was going to be awesome. I mean, who the hell wouldn't love a PCH trip from, San Diego all the way up the coast to Washington? But it was different than a fun trip. It was so spiritual in a completely changed my life. Like, because, you always have that fog and, and the extra static in your head that you're trying to sift through. But every mile I got farther away from home, everything started to clear away.
Yeah.
And
every mile every mile we went, you got one step closer to who you were as a person.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Like, coming home, it's funny, I remember when I got home, the clarity from this trip, it was just unreal. Anyways, keep going.
But that's
I'm already getting off.
No, that's what it was we had to turn around the year, and so we went on this trip just to get away and clear, the spot where I'd fallen over on the floor in my home, and seeing like the streets where the ambulance took me in the hospital. I had so much negative emotions, and I believe in and I teach that you can turn things around, and it doesn't start overnight. It starts with one small little thing. Like for you and I starting to train again, I couldn't run. So it started with me barely bending down, or barely doing one squat with my body weight, or barely lifting my leg up.
I remember every
remember
step
me
of the
falling
way.
over on the ground crying here in the gym, and that's why I'm so glad we're doing this here at the gym, raw and uncut. This is fucking where we built this back up.
I don't know if you remember, but the moment when I knew everything clicked for you, and it went from not feeling sorry for yourself, you didn't really ever feel sorry for yourself, but the moment when you're like, I'm fucking back, it was the days we were doing the sleds. We did the ladder drills. You were feeling good, feeling like your old self, being a linebacker again. But, and I'm getting fucking goosebumps just saying and thinking about it. But when you started pushing the sled, now I'm getting emotional, Jesus Christ, is when you started pushing the sled, you started to stop. And I remember I stepped to the side and I fucking yelled at you. And I'm like, 4 months ago, you didn't think you were going to fucking walk. Like, you don't get to fucking quit. You don't get to do, it's not who you are. And you went harder and fucking faster. You went to the point until you fell down. And that was, that was amazing. Like, and I stepped back and I was like, this is why I do what I fucking do, is to help people and grow. But watch you do that, coming to the point to where, a badass athlete to starting over. But that moment when you did that, you left, you came back Thursday, completely different person. Like, you literally, like, you accepted that, what happened, and that part of it was gone. And your training fucking exploded from there. Leaps and bounds after that. Because you had to almost prove to yourself that I'm not done, and it was gone.
And that's what we're doing here, guys, and why him and I, threw up the microphone and started the Triumphant Life podcast is we're all going to go through shit in our life, right? There's going to be setbacks, and it's going to fucking suck sometimes. And this is coming from an inspirational guy to look you in the face and say, yeah, I had a bad year. But it's not what happens to you. It's what you do about it. You're going to get fucking knocked down.
Oh
but
my
can
God.
you get back
That's an
up?
understatement.
And can you get hit in the face and keep moving forward? And that's my favorite Rocky quote ever, is to keep moving forward. And so for us,
but I think that's what separates people, though, is the ones that sit back and complain about it, right? Is you didn't really ever bitch and complain. You just yeah, I was pissed off, but you grew and you changed. You're coming up on that year mark. We're going to go do that camelback hike. That's going to be absolutely amazing for you. Most people would be still drinking, still sitting back and not moving. And I feel like that's what separates people from living that triumphant life is they're being stuck average and accepting what happened is, yeah, you got to accept it, but you got to move on. Don't let
what are you going to do about it, right?
Absolutely. Don't let it beat you down and stay there.
Yeah, and guys, it starts with baby steps. For us, we went on the trip, and it started with a small little jog down the beach, a small little workout. But after, guys, small little steps add up. You might walk a couple 100 yards, but tomorrow you might walk 400 yards. The next day you might jog that 400 yards. Then that turns into half a mile, and before you know it, you could be 3-4 months down the road fucking running a marathon, running a couple miles and feeling great about yourself. And so if you're listening to this right now, maybe there's a certain area about your life that you really want to take on and you want to triumph in. And that's where the word comes from is maybe it is your health and physique right now and you want to just step that up. Maybe it's your business. Maybe you want to start a side hustle, make some extra money or get that raise at work or be a better father, mother, and spend more time present with your kids off of Facebook, no phones at dinner. Maybe you want to be a better husband or a better spouse or a better wife or whatever that is for you. We want to encourage you guys that it just starts today. We're hiking a mountain on my year anniversary. I was laying in the hospital dreaming of that hike, but I knew that it wasn't going to start by hiking a giant fucking mountain. It was going to start by walking from the fridge to get out of the chair and get from the chair to the fridge, and being able to bend over. And that's what the Triumphant Life is all about and why we started this podcast. And so for us, we had gone on a 21-day bucket trip because I believe, guys, that life is short and use every moment that you have to make yourself better and to give away a ton of good stuff.
It's too short. You know, everybody thinks, oh, well, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it tomorrow. You don't fucking know if tomorrow's going to come. You don't know. You know, this year has been, for us personally, you know, Kimberly and I, it's been hell. You know, when Kimberly's, my father-in-law passed away in a tragic plane accident the day before Memorial Day. And I still remember the phone call that she got at 1:30 in the morning. That shit will fucking rock your world. Losing someone to a tragic accident so sudden.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then my wife spends, 5 or 6 weeks up in Washington and down here running the business, doing stuff, taking care of the dogs. You know, that will question who you are.
Yeah.
It'll push you to a point of like, do I quit or I keep going?
Yeah.
You know, and in my life, quitting is just not a fucking option.
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't. And that's what it is. You're not promised tomorrow. And every day you put your dream off, it's not just one day. That day could be an additional year.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow might be a completely different day. You might get thrown something else. So if you don't jump on the shit you want now, one day could actually be a year. But you only think it's one day, and it's not.
What are you waiting for, right? Andrew and I had just shared a video back and forth, and I had sent it to him, and the analogy is as you're laying in your deathbed, the ghosts of what could have been, what you should have been, or what you could have done, or that trip you could have taken. You know, what was interesting is as we were on our trip, it was very symbolic because I had a lot of people reach out, and one of the reasons we did a bucket list trip was for that reason itself, was to say, you know, a year ago I was paralyzed and in the ICU, and life is short, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of people along the way reach out and say, man, I should have done something like that.
I wish I could do that.
I wish I could do that.
I wish.
But guys, let me encourage you. Like right now, there's not a lock on the freeway. There's not like a gate up. Like nobody built a wall yet that says, hey, you can't go past X amount of point. And what was crazy is it's not like we stayed in the fucking Ritz-Carlton. We camped. We stayed in Motel 6s. So what did you need? A vehicle and some gas? Throw 4 of your best friends in the car right now if that's something you've been dying to do, if that's important to you, right? But maybe it's calling that loved one that you haven't talked to in a few years just to say, I'm sorry and I miss you. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's finally going, you know what? I am done being overweight. I am done buying into the bullshit excuse I give myself that I'm big bone and starting tomorrow.
Raise your goddamn standards for yourself.
Thank you.
Raise your standards for yourself. Stop looking in the mirror and accepting it if you want more. Like that's not who you are. You know, be better. There are way too many fucking average people nowadays. Everyone's so goddamn soft. They're afraid to take leaps. Like when we opened up this gym, you know, I was scared, but I didn't have an option. I didn't have a choice. But that's the way I view myself. I don't have a goddamn choice when it comes to this. Is stop being so scared. Make the trip, make the jump, do it. Go
so talk to me about that then. So let's say we're listening to, and kind of when I came to you, right? Like, hey, dude, I have reached rock bottom, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, you name it. How do you encourage people to get started in your, you know, like, okay, I want to lose weight. Like, take fitness, I think, because that's an easy example we can all wrap our heads around. But fitness, it's the same attitude of starting a side hustle or, putting yourself out there with that girl or guy you've been dying to talk to. How do you encourage somebody to get started? How did you encourage me to get going?
Well, the first thing I tell people, the thing is your story is going to be a little bit different than anyone else because anyone else come to average, I just want to lose weight. But for them, what I tell them is the first thing you got to do is accept where you're at and be okay with it. So I'm like, you're here, that's fine. Let's just get better, right? But everyone wants to jump in. 30-day plan, I'm going to change my life. No, do baby steps because you know what? You got to stick to the goddamn basics. Everybody wants the perfect meal plan, the perfect, most science written out workout, but they can't even stop going through the motherfucking drive-thru. Yep. Like you're never going to be successful at that. You got to have some discipline. Set boundaries with friends and family because people will drag you down. Do you know how many people come and train with me for 2 months, quit, for 6 months, come back 2 months. Every time they come back, they're a little bit fatter, a little bit more out of shape, and they do worse the next time. Do you know why? Because they think everything changes in 60 days or 21 days to make a habit. You know what? That's bullshit when it comes to food. That is bullshit because if it was true, everybody would be shredded. So I tell people, accept where you're at, have discipline, and set boundaries and raise your fucking standards for yourself. Stop looking at yourself as some lazy piece of shit and be like, it's okay, I'll put it off tomorrow. Stop putting your fucking friends before yourself and your health. That is the number one thing that brings people down. It's my friend's birthday. It's friend's happy hour. It's this. I see people saying, I can't afford training. Well, no shit, you can't afford training. You spend over $1,000 a month going out to eat and drinking every month. No shit. You could afford one-on-one training instead of group training, but it's your choice not to.
But I think also it comes down to knowing that it's possible. You know, like today in society, we get on, Facebook or Instagram, and everybody's got this filtered version of themselves, right? It looks like they have the perfect body, the greatest business, the best relationship.
And the best hashtags.
But understand, yeah, the best hashtags. That's a highlight reel of their life. But if you think about that, if you're comparing yourself to that, understand there's a behind the scenes there. I had a lot of people over the past year go, dude, I had no clue you were hurt because you just kept sharing inspirational shit. Yeah, I'm putting that out there because this is a highlight reel of myself, right? Like they took a picture of me in the hospital chair, tubes up my arms, giving it, hey, what's up? Do you know how long it took me to get to that chair? Days, bro. Days to be able to put on a smile. And I was so drugged out of my mind, I don't remember taking the photo. Then we filtered the crap out of it.
Of course.
Like, edged out the blood that you had seen on the, like the catheter going up my, Like, it was a...
Wait, what does it go on?
Yeah, right? It was a filtered version, though. And stop comparing yourself to that and live your life. Live your goals. And that's why we wanted to start this Triumphant Life just movement is it's okay to be you and it's okay to get started. Because guess what? Putting off till tomorrow, putting off till Monday, living for Friday or living till next year, what are you waiting for? Because I am living proof that, guys, I was 32 years old, young, healthy, happy. Life was good, man. And I remember the night before just sitting there going, man, I had a $20,000 day today. Life is fucking good. And then, you know what? In one flip of a switch, dude, that fast, it was all gone.
So, okay, real quick. So I had a client actually tell me this shit today. So his buddy's father worked for, I think it was the city of Phoenix or something like that. Great job, great pension, had all this. He was living for retirement. Living in fucking retirement. He put in for his retirement. 2 weeks before his actual last day of work, last day for the rest of his life, found out he had stage 4 cancer.
Jesus.
He retired 2 weeks later. He died 4 weeks after that.
Jesus.
Pension, all this money, things saved up. But why wait to live your life? And that's, but it's just American dream, right? You go to college, you find a girl, you get married, you buy a house, you have a kid, you retire, then you live. That's not my story. I'm not doing that. Yeah. I am not going to wait until I'm 65 years old to live my life. I don't want to do that. And when you're that old, what the hell are you going to do? You're going to be sleeping on your damn retirement anyway.
Live
One
today.
thing Kimberly's dad told me, which he told us, which really stuck with me, is he's like, because he was 70 years old when he passed, but when he was 68 or 69, he told us, he's like, you know what? The reason why I'm still working now at the age of 70, because I lived and I literally did everything I wanted in my life. Climbing mountains, skydiving, he did everything. Ice climbing.
He's an adventureman, yeah.
Oh my, he's total outdoors, but he's absolutely, one of the most amazing men I've ever met in my entire life. And that's one thing I will always take from him is don't be fucking scared. Do it. If you want to do it now. Because you never know what the hell's going to come next.
It's funny you say that. I actually put this quote on my Instagram yesterday.
It
says, do what makes you happy, be with those who make you smile, laugh as much as you breathe, and love as long as you live. And guys, that's actually why we're doing this.
It's actually really simple if you think about it.
It really is. I didn't think in a million years. I've had people ask me for years, Nick, when are you going to start a podcast? When are you going to be,
I never thought I'd be on a fucking podcast.
Neither did I.
I hate talking.
But you know what? And that's why we're doing this is we just want to help one person out there, man. And maybe, our time doing this together, maybe what I went through is that one thing you need to get started. I'm giving you permission right now. It's okay to get started. It is okay to take control of your health, over your business, and over your relationships, and be fucking happy. And you know what? We got a whole group around you that want to support you, that want to build you up, that know that you can live that lifestyle. And that's what the Triumphant Life is all about. The word triumph just sums up who we are. We're going to get kicked in the teeth. I know that. There's going to be cloudy, rainy days. I can't control that. But what I can do is get an umbrella and control how I react to it. Yep. I know that for a fact. And that's what we believe here. So who are we really for? Somebody that wants to achieve and wants more than life, that wants to suck the juice out of that, whether that's with your sales career. Obviously I own a real estate company, so a lot of my realtors are on this. A lot of real estate students that I coach across the nation are on this. Maybe you're a young entrepreneur because I coach businesses there. Maybe you're into the fitness world and want to grow your fitness and build better habits there. Maybe you want a better relationship, or maybe you just want more out of life. I don't know what that is for you. Obviously something compelled you and got you here.
Yeah,
right?
If you need it, reach out, ask questions. That's
Please.
What we're here for.
That's what the group is about. This is a movement, guys, that we want to be there for you like you were there for me. And that inspired me. And that's why I wanted you on the very first call, because I came to you at rock bottom. the worst I had ever been mentally, physically. I mean, I was in the deep. I didn't even know you could go that deep, that dark. And on paper, I'm a successful guy. I run a multi-million-dollar real estate company. Life is good. No, bro, do you know what I'm struggling with inside? And I didn't know that there was such sweet, caring people out there that genuinely love me and wanted to build me up. And
when you're at rock bottom, those people really show themselves. People show who they really are.
Trust me, it got lonely down there. There was only a few people there, but you were there. And we wanted to do this for you guys because maybe you are there and maybe you want to support community, get you started. We just wanted to welcome you guys to the Triumphant Life podcast.
Dude, I'm excited for this. This is going to be
episode 1's in the books, dude.
This will be so fun.
And as you guys can tell, we're real people. We're sitting in the gym. We got puppies barking. We got music on. But why should we filter this? This is who we are. We're going to shoot you straight. There was probably a ton of F-bombs on there.
You know why, though? Because you can't filter your real life.
We're not, but your life is real, guys. And today, take that step. It's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get scared, but that's okay. We'll be here to support you. But live today. Chase your dreams. Love you. And we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.
Oh, hey, if you guys liked it, throw a comment down. Give us a like. Give us a love. Share this with a friend.
Yeah, tag a friend that needs some help, too.
Seriously, send this to that person right now that you know is trying to start that side business or trying to lose that weight and wants to make the next year of their life the best year of your life.
Absolutely.
Love you guys. See you on episode 2.
Take care.